Yes?
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. Salcito, what time did... Are you sure that the message
I'm
said...
sure of nothing. The message I got was simple. Have the money ready, be at the home of Deputy Coyannis. If a meeting can be arranged, you will be called. All right. The money, $5,000, it is ready. We are at your home. All we can do now is wait.
The message. What do the words say exactly?
You Bamia. 100 times since this morning you've asked me that. We both know the words as well as we know our catechism. They have not changed since this morning. Can deliver documents on Z for $5,000. If meeting possible tonight, we'll call home Deputy Coyannis.
Well, it's good quality paper.
Yes, the informer has a taste for the finer things in life, like $5,000.
Yes. Yes, this is Deputy Coyannis' son. Yes, we have the... Agreed. We will be there. 1 o'clock. The Trekanska Highway, the 3-kilometer marker.
Very well. You take Madonna home. I will go with Salcito.
No, Father. I will go
boy.
with Salcito.
The boy's right. It might be a little... and the party can't spare you.
Perhaps you're right.
Darling, please, do be careful.
Don't worry. My little watchdog is always careful. Go, take the beloved one home, then come back for me. But remember, we have only 2 hours. And it will take at least 15 minutes to drive from here to the 3-kilometer marker on the Trekanska Highway.
Good night, Madonna.
Every government has its Secret Service branch. America, its CIA, France, Deuxième Bureau, England, MI5. A messy job? Well, that's when they usually call on me or someone like me. Oh, yes. My name is Drake. John Drake. The country was in southern Europe. When the Internal Monetary Fund came into the picture, the peasants were destitute, working with wood-age agricultural equipment to wrest a bare living from a soil as exhausted as the peasants themselves. The IMF, Internal Monetary Fund, poured millions into the country in an effort to revitalize the soil, provide modern equipment for the peasants. But after 3 years, both the soil and the peasants were still exhausted, the implements still primitive. The IMF knew the money was being misappropriated, but each country is sovereign, jealous of its national rights, its national pride, its integrity cannot be questioned. But the murder of the son of Deputy Coyannis, representative of the Peasant Land Party, and charges he was raising against the administration gave the IMF the opportunity it had been seeking. Put a man on the scene. Now, that was my assignment. Find out who was growing fat while the peasants were growing lean. Hello, my name is Drake. I believe Mr. Coyannis is expecting me.
Oh, yes. Come this way, please.
Thank you very much.
And the money from the IMF has been systematically misappropriated by Minister Zamida and his friends in power. The peasants have not received 10% of the millions poured into our country.
Not even 5%. Yes, but Mr. Coyannis, you have no proof.
Proof? The murder of my son and my dearest friend, Salcito, that is nothing?
Well, if I may say so, all that proves is that they were murdered and robbed. It may have no connection whatsoever with IMF.
They were murdered by order of Zamida to prevent them from buying the documentary evidence. Records of share transfers, bank statements, which would prove his guilt.
Yes, but why Marco and Salcito? If you say what is true, that Zamida knew he was being betrayed by someone who was close enough to him to have this information, why didn't he kill that person? He presented the real threat to him, not your son nor Salcito. Who was in this room at the time the arrangements were made for the meeting?
My son Marco, Salcito, of course, Miss Madonna, my son's fiancée, and myself.
And it was your son that answered the phone. Now, the voice on the phone, did he say anything about it?
Nothing. He just repeated the instructions.
Now, who else, apart from yourselves, knew about the $5,000 in the briefcase? Well?
Mr. Drake, you must understand this. I am the representative of the Peasants' Land Party. We are a minority voice in the government. We are poor. When we got word that it might be possible to do a deal to buy the information we had been seeking for years, my friend Salcito, Storch here, had to go about from peasant to peasant, from farm to farm, collecting a little here, a little there, to make up the $5,000. So how can I say whether anybody...
You're saying it, Mr. Coyannis. Every peasant in the valley knew about the money.
How dare you? How dare you even try to suggest that one of our people could
It's
have...
all right, Madonna. Mr. Drake must explore every avenue.
Every avenue, Mr. Coyannis. But it is usually in the back alleys where the truth is found.
You don't believe that my son was murdered by order of the Honorable Minister of the Interior, Zamita?
I will ask the Honorable Minister of the Interior, Zamida. And so I told Mr. Coyannis that I would put the question to you.
Very well, Mr. Drake, I'm listening.
Is Mr. Coyannis correct in believing that you ordered the murder of his son?
Poor man. Mr. Drake, I've known Coyannis now for many years. Political opponents, yes, of course, but that doesn't stop me from feeling for him as a person. And over the years, I've watched this obsession he has grow. The government is corrupt, the peasants are exploited and robbed, and he's almost paranoid about it. And it's not only my administration, every administration over the last 15 years has been attacked in this same violent way by Coyannis. Mr. Drake, this is my wife.
How do you do?
Yeah, how do you do? I'm sorry, dear, I didn't know...
No, please, I'd like you to stay.
Do sit down, Mr. Drake.
Sure.
Would you like a drink? We're very proud of our local wine.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed.
You see, our local wine. Now, would you believe that she was a Randolph of Back Bay, Boston?
Well, you are an American, Madame Zamida?
But now she's become more nationalistic than our most rabid natives.
I like the country, and I like the people. One in particular.
You've been here long?
Mm-hmm. I met my husband 7 years ago. He came to America representing his country.
The minute I learned she was heiress to a vast fortune, I said, Lorraine, my darling, I will marry your money, and you may come and live with us.
It was his frankness that won me over.
Oh, Mr. Drake is from the International Monetary Fund. He's come to look into those charges raised by Coyannis. In fact, just before you came in, he asked me if I had ordered the killing of Marco Coyannis and Salcito.
Please, Madame Zamida, allow me to make my position clear in this matter. I think your husband takes unfair advantage of me when he tells you coldly of the question that I put to him. What is said is not important. The important thing is how it is said. And I think His Excellency knows the way and the spirit in which the question was put to him.
Oh, forgive me, Mr. Drake. I knew you weren't being serious.
Well, but there is one thing that I'm serious about. I'm serious about the reputation of the International Monetary Fund. As you know, it is a fund which is supported by various countries, and there are certain persons in each one of these countries who will try to sabotage the entire aid program, let us say, for their own ends. If a scandal should start here in this country, it would have a serious effect upon the aid which is granted to you and to the other impoverished nations. That is why I was sent here, to contain any scandal, if in fact there is a scandal, before it should break.
I understand you, Mr. Drake, and your purpose. I will take no offense if you wish to be more explicit.
Good. You understand the situation, then? Mr. Coyannis accuses, well, not accuses, rather implies that you, your aides, your associates of your associates, in fact, everyone connected with the government, right down to the traffic cop on the corner.
Well, I think I can vouch for the integrity of the traffic cop.
Well, that all of you have, in fact, been systematically stealing from the peasants IMF money. Now, up to now, apart from one or two local papers, nobody has taken these implications seriously. But with the double murder, and one of the victims being his own son, world press is starting to give it a big play. And already IMF has begun to feel the effects of this.
I've already told you, Coyannis is quite paranoid about his peasants. I don't even bother to take any notice of his
The
rent.
world is beginning to take notice, Your Excellency.
For your information, Mr. Drake, every penny of IMF money has gone to the destination for which it was intended. Rehabilitation of the land and aid to the small farmer.
3 years? In 3 years, there does not appear to have been much improvement in their lot.
I agree. And do you know why? Because the peasants themselves resist modernization. We've given them tractor plows. I can show you where they stand rusting in their own furrows. Newly acquired methods of fertilization, tens of thousands of dollars worth, poured into the rivers, tons of poison fish washed up, crop rotation. Agricultural experts have been sent into the fields. They've been faced with a blank wall. The fathers and the fathers before them always planted corn in these furrows, so corn it shall be, always will be. I tried to introduce legislation so that the farmers would be forced to follow the government's directives. Do you know who was successful in overthrowing the bill? The Peasant Land Party. Coyannis. No, Mr. Drake, you don't understand our peasants. They're stubborn and reactionary. It'll be a long, slow process of education. Not this generation, maybe the next generation, but it's worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth the money.
Anthony, please, now, don't get excited. Remember what the doctor said.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make a speech. Mr. Drake, every peasant in the valley knew about that collection, and those two men were lured to their deaths for the simple purpose of robbery. Murder and robbery by one of their own kind.
And that, Your Excellency, is really all that I am interested in. Find the killer of Marco Coyannis, and then we can decide whether it is a matter for the IMF or for your own local police.
All my departments are open to you.
I'll take you up on that. I'd like to have a chat with your Minister of Finance, if I may.
It will be arranged.
Wait, Arcady. And ugly rumors are best met with truth, don't you think, Mr. Drake?
As you say.
Truth and indisputable facts and figures. Now, these are the records of the agricultural appropriation of equipment.
May I have photostatic copies of them?
Anything you wish. You will find that every item balances, down to the last cent. Have them photographed, Arcady. So, you will be able to take them away, study them at your leisure.
Oh, no, I don't think this is necessary. Obviously, there is nothing to hide here. But later, I should like to check the other statement.
Mm-hmm. It will be necessary to collate certain figures. This will take a little time.
Not too long, I hope. Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
I'm obliged.
Where did you get this?
From a man called Arkady. He works in the Ministry of Finance. May I? If you wish to know the truth, meet me at 6 off Highway 10 by the Zarbet turning.
What do you know of this Arkady?
I only know that he was afraid because of the information he has.
It might be a trap.
Remember what happened to Marco?
So, I'm sorry. It's all I have to go on. I must follow it up. Now, how do I get to Highway 10 by the Zarbet turning?
I know the road. I'll take you there.
Thank you.
The highway is just ahead.
All right, thanks. No, better if I go alone. Arkady is a nervous man.
Suppose anything goes wrong.
Wait 10 minutes. No longer.
Coyannis. Hurry, please.
This is preposterous. What would I gain from betraying you?
Arkady had promised to tell me the truth. Perhaps the truth would have proved that your allegations against Zamita were without foundation.
Did you come here to help us, or not?
Oh, yes, indeed I did. But you were the only person that I told about the meeting. The only one. Now, how do you explain what happened?
I can't.
Exactly. Good night. If you have anything to tell me before my meeting with Zamita in the morning, I'll be at my hotel. Madam Zamita, Nay Randolph of Boston Back Bay. What can I do for you?
Mr. Drake, I need a drink.
Well, of course, we're very proud of our local wines.
I would like whiskey.
Whiskey, you shall have. All right, Madam Zamita, you've taken your pause. How can I help?
I want my husband to be forced to go into exile, to flee the country.
A reasonable request, which any reasonable husband should grant.
And I need your help to persuade him to do it.
You mentioned the words flee and exile. Now put them together, and they spell fugitive.
Yes.
Fugitive from what?
Perhaps 20 years. Maybe the rest of his life in prison.
Ah, but in this country, for murder, they shoot you.
I'm not talking about that. And he had nothing to do with that.
Madam Zamita, what does all this mean to me?
To you? It means a chance to complete your job here.
Oh, I see. He's had his hand in the till, has he?
He's been forced into it. Don't think he runs things in this country. He's merely the personality boy in the front of the store. But there are other men, more powerful, whose names never appear. Now, I can deliver those men, at least, the evidence to convict them, in exchange for a chance for my husband to get out of the country first with me.
Well, the evidence that convicts them, unfortunately, also convicts him.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's simple. If he wants to opt out, he can gain immunity by making a deal with Coyannis.
No. Coyannis hates him. Coyannis is convinced that...
Had his son killed. Incidentally, where were you and your husband on the night of the killing?
Together. At home. Asleep.
So you want to use me as a middleman, to get a pledge from Coyannis that he will permit Zamita to flee the country if he turns in his playmates.
My husband won't turn in anyone. But I will give you the documentary evidence that'll make it senseless and impossible for him to stay.
So, it runs something like this, then. I get a pledge from Coyannis that he will give your husband 24 hours to run. You give me the documents, I pass them to Coyannis, and Coyannis gains control of the government, and everyone lives happily ever after. Madam Zamita, if I succeed in getting this pledge from Coyannis, will you take his word?
Yes. You see, he's a peasant who really wants to be a gentleman, and this gives him a curious sense of honor.
All right, Madam Zamita, I will make this deal, but I want just one more thing from you. First, I'd like to see the documents before I speak to Coyannis.
No. Because then you would have it all. But I promise you this. The minute you get Coyannis' word, I will hand over the documents. But you must hold them until we've left the country.
How soon can you get them?
I have them. Now, call me tomorrow morning after 10. It'll be safe then. At this number.
Uh-huh. And this number is 137596.
Our private number at home.
I will say only one thing. The ducks are ready for you, madame.
And give me an address where it'll be safe for us to meet. It's too dangerous for me to come back here.
I don't trust her. I don't trust Zamita. I don't trust even this small delay, so I want the move made now.
But that could be dangerous. If Zamita's home, he might recognize my voice and then...
A woman. We can have a woman make the call. She can give her your message. Storch, bring Madonna in.
I think this is wrong.
You don't know these people as I do. This could be a trap baited to go off tomorrow. But if you press her now, and she gives excuses... Ah, Madonna. Mr. Drake wishes you to make a telephone call for him. He will tell you what to say.
Yes, I want you to call. Oh, by the way, I'll need a place where I can meet her, a safe place.
Madonna's apartment in the suburb.
Oh? Where is that?
Well, it's the Romani for. It's near the main highway. I'll take you if you wish.
No, better if I go alone.
Well, it's very easy to find. It's a small house on the corner, yellow and blue.
Litza, Romani 4, yellow and blue. I'll find it. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to call Madame Zamida.
Madame Zamida?
That's right. I want you to give her the following message. The ducks are ready, Madame. Then your address, and then you hang up. Is that understood?
Yes, but why do you want to call Madame Zamida?
Because she has documents to prove the thefts of Zamida and...
We'll leave that for now. Oh, and if anyone else answers apart from Madame Zamida, you hang up. Understood? Thank you. Got a street map of the area.
Here, this is where you are now. You go along this street to the Trikanska Highway. You proceed along the highway exactly to this point here. Turn right into Litza Romani. And here, exactly at this point, you will find the house of Madonna.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I gave her the message. She said, very good, thank you, and then she just hung up.
Are you sure it was Madame Zamida?
Oh, yes.
You recognize her voice?
Well, I don't know her voice.
How did you know it was her?
She seemed to understand.
Ever met her?
No.
Or Zamida?
Oh, once or twice, casually. We don't really travel in the same circles, you know. Oh, hey, here's the key to the house.
I hope you realize the importance of this, Madonna. Are you sure that you got the right number?
Oh, yes. 13759.
6. Who was here the night the call came for the meeting, the night your son was killed?
I have told you. My son, Salcito, Madonna, and myself.
And Marco and Salcito left you here alone with Madonna?
No. No, Marco took her home, then came back for Salcito.
And as soon as Marco had left you, you called Zamida?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
I guessed right. You called your lover, Zamida, to tell him of the meeting on the highway, and he sent his killers.
No, it's not true. It's not true.
You never met Madame Zamida. You hardly knew Zamida himself, and yet that private telephone number, you knew that. You went right to the phone and started to dial it. Madame Zamida, did a woman just call you and say... All right. Don't move. Stay right where you are. Lock the door. If your husband arrives before I do, try to keep him out. I'll be there in just 2 minutes. She didn't call the number. She called Zamida again to warn him. Now, you hold her here. She's the one responsible for your son's death.
Right.
Hold it straight. Was you, wasn't it? You were going to meet Marco Coyannis on the highway and give him the documents. To break your husband. To force him to flee with you because you knew you were losing him. That's why you wanted to make the deal. And you were here. Right in this room. By the phone when the call came. The call came to warn him. And you know from whom, don't you? From his mistress. And then you heard him call his killers, who, Captain Ashard, heard him order the death of Marco Salcito, the mysterious informer. And then you had to stay, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, it's true. Because I wanted to keep him.
A moment, Rex. There was nothing I could say to help. He was safe now. Maybe it was better this way. Who knows?
Bye.